Member of the Ridgefield Art Association, and today I'm going to help you paint a black petunia in the style that Georgia O'Keeffe may have used. She liked to paint flowers that were bigger than life. We're going to use 2 oil crayons and 2 colors of acrylic paints. Hopefully you'll make the flowers nice and big. You can go over the edge of the paper, so make sure there's something underneath so you can slop right over the edge of it and paint. First thing you're going to do is do 5 circles. It doesn't have to be in the center of the page, it can be anywhere. And that's going to be the center of your flower. And then the next you're going to do your big 5 petals. And go ahead and go right off the edge of the page if you want to. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're not trying to copy the flower exactly like it is. You have an example in your kit. So just draw 5 big nice petals. Don't worry about making mistakes. We're going to be painting over it anyway. Okay, once that is done, then we're going to grab some paint and just put it right on your paper plate. Put some blue on there. You can use quite a bit. And then I want you to get your brush wet. Then get the extra water out with using your paper towel. And start painting your petals. You don't have to be super neat, but I do want you to fill in all of the white spots, because then we're going to be using the black pastel crayon and painting over the top. Again, just leave some of the white space so you can find your original circles for the flower. We're going to be painting those yellow later. More paint. So this takes just a little bit of time, so shortly here I'll be stopping the video and I'll catch up with you when you have all 5 of your petals filled in. Feel free to go over the edge of the paper. Nice big blue flower. Don't worry about your petals if they're not all exactly the same. Again, we're going to be putting black over the top of it, so you can always make some changes later. So I want you to wash your brush out, and then the next thing we're going to do is make sure it's nice and dry. So take a hair dryer and batten down the hatches, because I blew things off of my desk here, and dry your painting really well. It should go pretty quick unless you have big globs of paint on there, but just use the hair dryer, move it all around the paper, and you'll be able to tell if it's dry or not, because when you pick it up and look at it, it'll kind of be shiny. And when I pick up my paper, I can still see some wet spots, and you don't want that because it'll just make a mess with our next step. So use the hair dryer, make sure it's nice and dry. You can touch it too. And then the next step that we're going to be doing will be putting the yellow into the center of the flower. Take your smaller brush, get a little bit wet, do the excess water off, and then just paint some nice bright yellow circles in the middle of your flower. Once again, they don't have to be perfect, because we'll be using other paint and the crayons to go around the yellow. And you could always paint over the top too if you feel like you messed up. Just get your 5 dots to match with the 5 petals. Clean your brush out really good, and then take your hair dryer. Make sure your dots are dry. Oh, shoot. the black oil crayon and peel away the paper edge so that it exposes the tip of it, and then you can have a nice surface there to color on your paper with. Little packing peanuts as a blending tool, because I really don't want you using your fingers. It just gets too messy. But after we get some crayon on the paper, then we can use the packing peanut to blend together and kind of smooth things out. So the first thing I want you to do is redefine your petal shape with the black crayon. And it's good to leave the blue between the petals. We're not going to fill that in. So that kind of gives the petals some definition and some interesting colors going on there. So first thing you do is you're going to start pressing down really hard towards the center and color that part in nice and thick so you cover up all the blue. So the center of the flower is going to be the darkest, and then as you go towards the outer part of the petal, it's going to be just a little bit lighter, and you'll see lots more blue through. So I'm going to pause the video and you guys can color in your flower, and then when you get all caught up, when your whole flower is complete, then you can start the video again. Now the little shavings that are created, feel free to dump them onto your garbage paper plate. Try not to wipe them off with your hand. You have most of your flower all colored in. I just have a little bit left to do on this one petal here. Again, you want to make it darker towards the center and lighter towards the outside. Shake those extra little filings off onto your garbage plate. And then I'm taking my packing peanut and sort of smoothing out the color a little bit. Kind of helps blend it, shade it a little bit more. Packing peanut breaks a lot. Just use another part of it. Just keep turning it around and use it again. Just throw it out when you're all done with it. So I like to kind of smooth out all of the different tones that you have, the darks and the mids and the lights. Shake off more of that garbage. Okay, now we're going to be using the white, and this will be for highlighting. Again, you want to take the paper off the edge of it if you haven't done already. Now every time you touch the white onto the black, it's going to be kind of sticking to it. So you can only color a little bit, and then you should rotate your crayon around so that it distributes the white. And then what you're going to have to do is wipe off that black stuff so that you can get back to the white again. So I'm kind of rolling my crayon around. You can see how it picks up the black. Then you've got to wipe that off on a paper towel so you have a clean white crayon again. Then you can color, then you got to wipe, and just keep wiping it off. Otherwise you're just going to be smearing it around and it'll just be nothing but ugly gray. Pretty time consuming, but it is nice to be able to put white on top of black. So I'm just doing that highlight edge, kind of where the petal of the flower turns over. Kind of like a little zigzag line around it. And look at your reference photo if you'd like. Then I'm going to be putting some highlights along the edges of the petal, just to sort of define it a little bit more. Again, you have to constantly wipe the black off so that you can get down to the white crayon. Just a few more highlights in the middle of the petals, kind of like what you see in the picture. These don't have to be perfect. You can always go back and add highlights wherever you want. You can blend them a little bit. You can add more black. But for now, we're going to finish the last step, and that's making the green. So you've already got blue and yellow. Need a little bit more yellow here because we're going to make lots of green to go around the back side of the flower. So take yellow and blue. Makes kind of a dull green. You can mix lots of it up. And then just start painting around your petals. Again, even if you mess up and kind of go into your petal, don't worry about it. You can let the paint dry, and then you can go back with your crayon and you can go back over the top of the paint. It's nice to be able to go right off the edge of the paper there. Just fill in all the way around the petals. Looks like I didn't quite make enough of my green. Gonna stir in some more. Now I left the bottom of my paper white, but you don't have to do that. You can paint the whole thing if you'd like. Or depending on how big your flower was, maybe your flower took up the whole piece of paper. That's good too. But just to save time, I'm not going to paint the entire bottom of my paper. I'm going to leave it white, and I'll put my name there in a little bit. The final thing you'll do is paint the green right in the very center of the flower. Just do the best you can to try to get around the yellow dots. If you mess up, you can always put more yellow on top after the paint's dry. And the very last step you do is sign your name on your masterpiece. Okay everyone, I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope you enjoy doing the black flower. You can always go back and add more details for as long as you want. Use the packing peanut to kind of blend some more. Then make sure it's dry and send me a picture. Thanks everybody. Have fun. Happy painting.